Okay, good morning, brothers. Here's pages for those who need. If you could pass those around. We're learning month of Cheshvan, Chav Dalet today, right? Chav Dalet Cheshvan. Leilui Nishmas Bas Yefega Bas Yisrael Zichron Livracha. Leilui Nishmas Frida Sima Bas Yitzchak Zichron Livracha. Leilui Nishmas Meir Yitzchak Ben Yosef Eliyahu HaKohen. And for the Refuah Shleima of Hillel Tzvi Yehuda, Achayal HaKadosh, and all of Achayalim HaGiborim VaKadoshim. This week is sponsored by Rabbi Michael and Phyllis Miller and Benjamin and Nachum Bakon, David and Nitza Jerome for the Refuah Shleima of their nephew and cousin Eitan Asher Ben Dvorah, who was seriously injured last week in Lebanon. He should have a Refuah Shleima. By Zahava Englenard, Elei Nishmas Tova Bas Chaim, and in honor of all the Chayalim HaKadoshim, Hashem Yishmor Aleim, and the Chatufim should be returned home. Sponsored this week by the Spaeth and Nagel families in honor of Mom and Tom's Aliyah. Hershey's on the way to the airport. Yeah, it's a big simcha. It's a big simcha. Baruch Hashem. And by my in-laws, Barbara and Ben Selsky, in honor of Tiferet and Liba's birthdays. My girls, I have two girls, they have birthdays late this week and early next week. So Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. Listen, I have to get it out. Again, I was tormented this Shacharis. Why do Nigunim have to come down when you mamish Hashem's Flasai Tiftach L'fi Agiti Yosecha? And the whole Shmona Esrei, I'm trying to chop in, so I end up basically singing the Shmona Esrei to whatever the nigun was. I totally forgot it by Tachnun. Ran to the office very fast to record it, but then I didn't remember it right, so I'm hopefully remembering it right now, but I think it's a Gevat nigun. Bam ba da dee day day ay 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 ay. Oh 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 dee day day ay da da dee day 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 da 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 dee day ay. La 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 ay 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 dam da da di da 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 la la di da ay 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 hey bam da da di da 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 di da 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 ay 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 dam da da di da 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 dam da da di da 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 ay 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 oh oh bam ba da 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 ba ba da 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 ay 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 dam da da la 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 ay 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 bam ba da 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 bam ba da 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 ay 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 Okay, page Kuf Aleph. Kuf Aleph. In the Sefer, we're finishing today. Be'ezer Hashem, we're going to finish the Midah of Netzach. I'm also very excited because for the first time since the Rav's kidney transplant, I'm going to be with him this afternoon, and I'm like, I'm shaking. You know,
this is one of the rehearsals.
Yeah, for he's doing it. Yotis Kislev.
Dan
Yeah.
is with us.
Who?
Dan.
Dan Marantz. Dan. It's very, it's very exciting. And it's the Rav Ginsburg's 80th birthday, so they asked a bunch of different chaver that are kashur to write some kind of a ma'amar, some kind of an article in honor of his 80th birthday. And I'm mamish stink at writing. I always ask someone to just like talk to have a conversation and transcribe it. I'm not a good I don't write good. I don't think so. And so it was so beautiful because I was just talking about the shir. That's what the whole mimer was, just about how there's all different ways to connect to Rav Ginsburg's Torah and everything, but I was just speaking about us, and it was very beautiful. It was very special. So it was a yirschus that a very hopefully enlightening piece will be in the Choveret for his 80th birthday, and he should continue to have a refuah shlema. So we're in the bottom of Kuf Aleph. Today we're going to answer the very, very important question: do all Jews need to come home before Mashiach comes? So this is a question that's loaded. It's a loaded question because hashkafas, outlooks of Yiddishkeit have been built upon this question. Like, do all Yiddelach have to come home in order for Mashiach to come, or is Mashiach's inyan, like the way we understand in the Rambam, that he's kibbutz galuyot, the ingathering of exiles. So it gets we have to learn this sugya. We're going to learn it, hopefully, with as much clarity as possible, al-pi the way that he brings it down from the Rebbe, from the way that he explains from the Bavitcher Rebbe. Warning, trigger warning. I'm just saying. I already did it. I see your face. I'm just saying.
From Chazal, just from Chazal, not Shitas. We're going to learn.
I'm just saying. You're here to learn. I'm here to learn too. I'm here to learn.
That the first stage, that before Mashiach, is the return of people, and then Mashiach comes. There's a sequence.
Who says that?
It's brought down in the Vim. It's in many Mekaris.
Do you hold from the Rambam?
I think so.
So,
pretty solid.
So
there's return of people.
No, not all. Never going to be all.
Oh, we didn't even start learning. We didn't start learning.
You just said trigger warning.
Matthew, welcome to the triggers. These are the triggers over here, right? I triggered. Listen, if we're not going to get triggered while we're learning, why bother, gotta come to shir? Oh, and this said this, and that said this, and I go home and feel so frum. No, if it's not going to trigger you, who was triggered in high school by anything, or we just slept through it? So we're doing a lot of tikkunim. For years, I've shared a bunch of stories of stuff, how I spent time in high school. I mean, all of us do. I'm talking about in class, in class. You'll see, you probably have a lot of different tactics that could have helped us get through those years, I'm sure. You did what I did. I mean, we once spoke about this. You do your own thing, you're writing, you're making a jigsaw puzzle, or you're reading something behind the Gemara, and then you have a timer every 4.5 minutes. You raise your hand and you listen to the last thing the Rav said and say, "Oh, sorry, I missed that last thing." Yeah. Oh,
With such interest.
Right. I'm sorry. I just that last word, just that ehrlich face, just that last word. We mashed in my nefesh.
I'm holding on the whole time.
Aye, Baruch Hashem. We're going to call him out today in shir.
Sorry, what was the last thing?
Here he is. Bottom of Kuf Aleph. Today we're finishing the Midah of Netzach. We've been speaking Netzach in terms of the Nitzach. Again, 3 interpretations for the word Netzach. Does anyone remember the 3 of them? Netzach, the obvious one is to be a Menatzeach. Well, eternity, to be a Menatzeach, and Bidyuk, the orchestra, the conductor, Bidyuk. Now, Netzach is a branch from the side of Chesed. Remember those that have the Sfarim, it's on Tzadik Tzadik Hey. You see on the right, where it's more like all the spheros are basically the form of the body. Tzad Yamin Hashem Reimema. On the right side, you have Chochma, Chesed and Netzach. So Netzach and Chesed are on the same side. Netzach is a branch, like the Rav says here. HaNetzach hu anaf Chesed. This midah of Netzach is a branch of Chesed. Hu mamshich et midas HaChesed bekav hayamin shel haSfiros. It continues down the right side of the Sfiros. Keshem sheregel yamin memukemet mitachat liad yamin beguf ha'adam. I mean, I'm sure today's Mashiach will figure out a way that people will need to have l'shem freedom of choice to put their left leg on their beneath their right arm to say that they did and to say that's how I identify myself, right? Whatever, anything goes. So I'm just saying, let's keep it the way it is right now. At least muskam al pnei kol ha'olam, that the right hand is above the right leg, for now. Be'ezrat Hashem, we should continue.
Is it a
Chesed
branch,
b'achoraim
a
ole
branch
netzach.
of,
Beautiful.
or are these three all on the right side?
They're all on the
of
right
body,
side.
So they're not branches of each
I,
other.
no, but he calls it. I know, but he calls it a branch, so it must
So it
mean.
implies that Netzach is the central piece.
Let's
to
see.
which
Let's see.
Netzach and,
Let's see how he says it.
Yeah.
The Eli's Bayer, we learned earlier, shechelik mitikun midas hachesed. To get my chesed on, part of it, hu bekach shekol Yehudi v'Yehudi yikabel et nachlato ba'aretz, that each Jew receives their lot and their portion in the land. Not the way it is today. This is, Moshe Feiglin's been writing about this extensively for years. This concept about chalukat haaretz lenachalot al pi. He was not doing it al pi shvatim. You need Mashiach, I think, to come and to designate the actual pieces of land. But b'chad, each of us come here and we have a nachla. Like that's what it's supposed to be. Not because we're. There's no other reason we're entitled to it other than the way that the Torah has set it up. Larov tial pi nachala. So that's how the Torah speaks about it in Parshas Pinchas, how each person is supposed to get their lot, their portion in the land. So again, la'el yitbar shechelik mitikun midas hachesed ubekach shekol Yehudi v'Yehudi yikabel et nachlato ba'aretz. And then when that happens, when I receive my portion in the land, yitafsher yichud ben shnei ahuvim. Then a unification between two lovers can take place, like we learned in Midas HaChesed. What are the two lovers? The people and the land. Being intimate, mamish, with the piece of land. There's a yichud. We discussed this at great length earlier in the Midah of Chesed. Hitmamshut, fourth line from the bottom. Hitmamshut hayichud hazeh bevadai tashpia me'od al haratzon la'alot la'aretz. If this is how we're coming back home, you know what else is going to end up happening? It's going to bring a lot of people back home with it too. It'll be mashpia on the ratzon to come home. Put it like this: if Yidden and Chutz La'aretz see that when Jews come here and make aliyah, and they found love, I want to go where people found love. I want to be there. That's where I want to go. So the Rav says that the imagery of the Jew that comes home and makes aliyah must be one that chesed is the function of it. Not just that you come here and say, oh my God, it's so high here. We go to the kotel in the middle of the night and day trips to Hebron. All those are nice things, but is what's basically are you in the parsha? Are you in the portion of falling in love, like for real? That there's a yichud between you and the land. That's what he says is how the midah of chesed and this yichud comes down to the world. This will affect aliyah in a great, great manner. Great manner. I have to tell you, last night I played for an amazing, amazing group of people in a yekev. I'm sure you were there. In a yekev in Elon Moreh. You weren't there.
But I was with them before.
You were with them on Shabbos.
I was with Ken and the group of.
Oh, earlier in the day.
Project, yeah.
What a project! I couldn't believe it. Well, but you know who was there with? Basically, it's a bunch of amazing chavre visiting from. Elon Moreh. No, Elon Moreh is Kiryat Arba. Elon Moreh is the first place that Avram Avinu when he came to Eretz Yisrael. Elon Moreh, deep in the Shomron. Wow. Tehillim was. I mean, they also built all these like side roads now and Okef Chawara. Thank God, Kvish Okef Chawara. You bypass Chawara, but
Finally opened.
they opened it. It's still though, if you're not used to it, and it's nighttime. It's lo pashut. So a bunch of this amazing chavre from the person that ran it, I think, was from Baltimore, Silver Spring, that group. Mm-hmm. But there were a bunch of Cedarhurst chavre, and they set up shop in this yekev in Elon Moreh, Kabir, it's called. Amazing. You been there? You been to that winery? Wow. Mamash wow. And these guys, they don't come to eat, pizza and hummus. They'd all set up there like Amish to feed an army, literally. It's, every meat that you've never even heard of. The latest geschäft is maybe you guys seen this. I never saw this before. At the end of this big, nutty, crazy meal, they gave out croissants, but something was open, like it was with shkedei egel, with how do you say that in English? Huh?
No, sweet bread.
Yeah, but with what did it have inside? Yeah, but what kind of meat was like? Whatever it was, it wasn't like you go to. It wasn't what you pick up at the bakery in Erev Shabbos. You know what I mean? Anyway, but what's amazing about this chevra, like this is why I thought about this, is that they're supporting. There were a bunch of chevra that are running the farms, that are now setting up the farms throughout the country, and they've been sanctioned by the President of the United States. These guys have nothing. These guys have been fighting in Miluim from day one, and they're fighting to save Eretz Yisrael by setting up shop with all these chavot, with all these farms, and they got nothing. So these guys came in, and they hired, there were like 40 farmers there also. And most of the meat, I found out later, was from the farms that they raised. It was an amazing experience. And these guys look like they're in love with not the chevra that were visiting. They were beautiful, but the guys that were working the land, saving the land, they look like this. Like there's a yichud between them. They have their portion in the land. They're literally in, I'm just like, when you learn something and you see it in front of your eyes, it's very, basically, it's not just inspiring. It's like, oh, it's real. There are people like this. And there are all these farmers. There was unbelievable. I was schmoozing with them. Just gorgeous, gorgeous moment to see it. And that these are today's heroes, the ones that are showing us how to live in Eretz Yisrael. And they set up shop. There were chevra that came from the Golan, from the south, all over. A bunch of farmers. There was a lot of money was putting into these guys because they mamash are sanctioned. All their bank accounts are all. It's crazy. It's like we read about it and everything. Then it's mamish mashpia on people. And you're all thinking, you're crazy. You're talking like this online right now. You're going to get sanctioned now too. That's what Yossi's thinking. Then you'll take care of me if I get sanctioned. You'll take care of me.
No worries.
I'm not worried. Okay. So this, again, fourth line from the bottom. So again, this type of living here will mashpia me'od al haratzon la'alot le'eretz. It'll mashpia on the ratzon of Yidden to say, I know in my heart this is what I want. And it'll be mashpia on the ratzon to come home and move it to Eretz Yisrael. Va'afilu me'aratzot shebehen ne'enim me'osher chomri, even to make aliyah from comfort zones, from the places like where these guys come from. Kol Yehudi v'Yehudiya yagishu sheyesh lehem shoresh v'nachla ba'aretz. Every Yid will feel like they have a root and a nachla, and an inheritance in the land. It's the greatest dream, that every Yid should feel they have a shoresh and nachla in the land. It's an amazing thing. Umin hatzad hasheni, mechazek hanetzach et hachesed. Netzach strengthens the midah of chesed. How? בכך שיוזמה חזקה של עלייה היא הפועלת את הייחוד האמור ביתר שאת, because a huge, a strong yozma and a strong initiative of aliyah will cause this yichud to happen even stronger. Umarbe is gilui ahava v'atanu ganayvi mimeno. And then that feeling of being here, the love and the pleasure will emanate from the experience of living here in Eretz Yisrael. So Baruch Hashem, we have a long way to go, but we have amazing role models, and we have people that live like this. When we Baruch Hashem are blessed to have Ari and Jeremy in our midst. It's not a simple thing what they did and what they're doing every single day. I think it's too big for us to really realize what they've done and what they've accomplished and what they continue to accomplish. We have people like this in our midst. It's just a matter of saying, no, these are my Rebbes, these are my heroes. And Baruch Hashem, I think looking around the room, we have tremendous admiration and respect and a magnetism towards those type of Yidden that are living like this, in their nachala, in their shirish, in their portion, in their roots in Eretz Yisrael. And alavai, it should be our chelik as well. So now we get to what so far we're all smooth, but now it's when the BUT, buckle up teaching, buckle up Torahs. הקריאה לעלייה המונית היא תחילת בשורת הגאולה. The calling for mass aliyah is the beginning of the Besora of redemption. ובכלל, במידס הנצח, in this midah of netzach, tamun sod tzipiyas ha-yeshua v'chazona. So the secret of longing for redemption and its vision is placed within the midah of netzach. We're going to try to explain this. Behakdamas tikunei hazor mevuar ki nishmos hanevim shenikru gam tzofim nimshachos b'midas hanetzach. The souls of prophets, who are also called tzofim. You know what a tzofeh is? Well, it's scout as it's the youth movement is called, the boys, the scouts. But tzofeh is to be a seer, like a visionary, like a longer, but it's one that's looking out. Kol tzofayich nasu kol. Right? So we have a lot of words. In the davening, where we have tzofim, tzipiyah, umetzapim liyeshua, no? Ki liyeshua stakvinakom umetzapim liyeshua. Harat tzofim, because it's overlooking the Makom HaMikdash. It's called Harat tzofim. What's that? We say that in Rosh Hashanah, I think. Tzofeh v'yodea kol hanistaros. Is it one? It appears a few, yeah. So the neshama. Remember before we talked about the 4 types of Jews that left Mitzrayim? We learned that pretty extensively. So the same Hakdama of the Tikkun Azar speaks about that the souls of those who are able to look out like that, they come, the Nevi'im, they come from this midah of Netzach. Vehen ro'ot u'margishot gam ata et hatzafui lavo. And they see and feel right now that which will come. And the prophets, kor'ot lanu lashuv el artzeinu v'livasheh ba. They're calling us to come home. V'shavu banim ligvulam. They're calling us. They're calling out to what will be. But, and this is the big but, okay? Kibbutz hagaluyot hashalem v'hasofi, the final and bless you and complete ingathering of exiles, will take place rak le'achar hashlav ha'acharon shel talich hatikun al yedei hitgalut Mashiach ben David u'bnias beis hamikdash hashlishi. Okay, so what did he just tell us?
All those who are sitting Shev al Tasa, they're right. Waiting for the
He's saying, exactly. I just want to learn what he's saying now without giving Perush. I want to understand, to make sure I understand what he's saying. Based on this, again, the final and complete shlav of the ingathering of exiles will only take place after the last step of tikkun, of fixing, which will be through the revelation of Mashiach ben David and the building of the 3rd Beis HaMikdash. Where is he quoting this from? Chav Gimel?
It's a long, yeah, he gives a...
It's the Rambam, nachon? Yafeh. But who will be those that are still left behind? Az yashuvu gam ha'ovdim be'eretz Ashur v'anidachim be'eretz Mitzrayim. So we all know the nigun, but do we know what those words mean? Think about it. Uvahu ha'ovdim, ovdim, who are lost ones, me'eretz Ashur, ve'hanidachim, those that feel rejected, me'eretz Mitzrayim. So who's left? This is very interesting. Wow. This is Gewalt, right? Who's left at the end over there, right? Ha'ovdim me'eretz Ashur, those that are lost in the land of Assyria, ve'hanidachim me'eretz Mitzrayim.
Lost Jews.
Huh?
Lost Jews.
The lost Yidden. Now, another shayla which I don't want you to answer is who are the lost Jews and who are the ones that feel rejected? Who are the lost Jews and who are the ones that feel rejected? They're going to be part of it too, but according to the way that Rav Ginsburg is explaining the Rambam, that happens as the final piece of the tikkun and not beforehand.
Is he referring specifically to the lost tribes or more spiritually as
Great question. Great, phenomenal question.
I think the answer is yes.
The answer is yes to both. I don't know. The answer, listen, again, the problem is that when we try answering this question, everyone gets triggered and ticked off. Like everyone feels like, don't say that about them and don't say, and that's why I'm just saying that the concept of ovdim and nidachim type of yidden are those that are at the end. Like that's already with the building of the third Beis Hamikdash and Mashiach coming. But so does that pater us from what we have to work on now? No. And now he quotes the Rebbe. Ha'aliyah she'anu asukim bakan, but the aliyah we're speaking about now, she'arebi af tzien ki yesh batam shel kibbutz galuyot. The Rebbe said, it's not the geula, but there's a taste of the ingathering of exiles. V'chi hi misimanei ha'geula. It's a siman of the redemption. It's a sign of redemption. Hi hashlav hamakdim umechin et haderech lekibbutz hagaluyot hashalem. That means that each of you that chose to move back home, what did you basically do? You paved the way. You set the roads. You're clearing the roads. You're clearing the pathways for the ovdim and nidachim when it's their time to come home, for them to come home in a smoother process. That's what it means. That's a very, very beautiful thing. It's a very deep level.
That's okay. That feels good. Like at least this isn't. If I wonder, like, well, what am I really even doing? What are we even accomplishing here? At the very least.
Which is huge.
Yeah.
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 Nachon. Yeah, it's interesting how with the Rebbe, it's always so interesting how, like, my dream is to transform Zionism to Hasidus, like, that's really that'd be to me, that's Mashiach. That's Mashiach itself. The only Inyan is that Tzionim have a hard time when you don't acknowledge Zionism when you're speaking about Hasidus, and Hasidus have a very hard time when you acknowledge Zionism when you're talking about Hasidus. So, like I go to Rav Shlomo, I'm not talking about Herzl Zionism. I'm talking about Avram Avinu Zionism. Screaming it.
They're not mutually exclusive.
They're not mutually exclusive.
You're
saying the same thing.
The concept of Zionism rooted in a religious Zionism is not exclusive of Hasidus.
The thing is
Rav
that
Kook
I would love. But again, $1 million question. Would you put Rav Kook in the camp of today's religious Zionists?
I'm not talking about today's. We're talking about the concept. There's a
The concept,
of
nachon.
religious Zionism that
Nachon.
many of us grew up with that resulted in us being here, and that
Right,
doesn't
right.
exclude having
Right.
a Hasidic
Nachon, nachon.
and Kabbalah elements.
Nachon, I
to
agree.
understand.
I agree. 100%.
It's not either or.
The thing
But
is by the
I'm wondering here.
yeah.
The implication that I take from it, which I'm sure is wrong, but that's what it seems like, is that this shlav makdim is not an essential shlav.
It's not.
Essential shlav. In
How
other
do you
words,
get
if
that
we
out of what he just
come, we're helping. If we don't come, it doesn't matter. We'll be among the nidachim, and it'll all end up fine.
I don't see how you get
Wait with that,
Yeah.
because he's
I
going
don't think
to
that's what he wants to tell.
Chas v'shalom.
That-
And weiter, the Rebbe is going to explain to us, I think, what the Rebbe meant, and then let's go back to your question. But we're here to hear to learn from the tzaddik. Lachen, and this is what we speak about all the time. Therefore, if you're going to make aliyah, make real aliyah. Don't make American aliyah. Do you know what I mean by that? Does that make sense? If you're gonna do it, do all in. Like, do it. Do it with what it means. It means upwards. It means continuously upwards. Lachen, ha'aliyah la'aretz hi bivchinas oilas tamid. Therefore, he says the aliyah to Eretz Yisrael is the aspect of what's the olas tamid? The korban. What do we know about the Olas Tamid? Ha'ayla kalil al gabe hamizbeach. That it gets completely burnt on the altar, right? Ha'ayla kalil al gabe hamizbeach, meaning, if you're gonna come to Eretz Yisrael, your game has to be like on. All in. That's the avodah.
Like the new Shvatim over here.
Like the new Shvatim that are here, that's definitely true. Big time. But what about us?
The old Shvatim created
Because Rabbi Riskin came here. Yes, because and we keep on going back, nachon, because he paved and he paved and he paved and he paved, and that's the continuous thing. So I'm not going to answer you. I'll still stay with you, Yossi. What do you want to say?
Like, I guess I don't want to be considered though like
Nidakim, like don't, I'm not the leftover, I'm not the schlepper, I'm the winner, I'm the guy that's bringing it home, I'm the guy that's closing the deal. Like you're right, like at the end of the day, hey, this is a big picture, and if I have to, pave the way, I guess I just always hope that like, okay, there's like a lottery going on here, and like, okay, I got spit out now, and okay, now we're really in it, and now we're in it to do this, something really big. But like when you tell me, hey, look, don't worry about it, which okay, you're right, it's second place, it's not really essential. It's just paving the way, and I guess right, it's my kids, our kids. So
Why do you say just? Why is it?
Yeah,
just?
why is
How do
it
you get
just?
to just?
Like, why is that
It's
kilu?
hafuk. Because of what we're doing and other people before us, the people who come last have the opportunity to come. We're opening a door for somebody. It's not just.
Yeah, maybe it's from a selfish place of wanting to be here when it happens, of being here and like being the guy and the people that created it in our.
Being here now is part of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But maybe but who says we're not
like
that?
Nidakim, it's not a word. It's just not. It's not the first place prize that you would.
But you're not from them.
No.
Why are you? The nidachim are the lat.
Well, no. My fear, and this is what I take from this is, hey, Yus, sometimes I'm wondering what really is happening, and are we really going to close this deal? And maybe you're just going to end up being also a Nidakim, which what I'm hearing isn't so bad because you're paving the way.
No,
you're here
it doesn't.
already. I'm not here like he's talking
Are you feeling? Yeah, but are you? I think what Yossi. I think what you're
I
saying.
hear what you're
is that
saying,
you-
but I just don't.
But Yossi,
One second, Chevra,
You want to group those
one
people?
second. I want to address what he's saying because it's so crazy to hear this from someone who's whose daughter could have been an Oylat Mima La Hashem on Simchas Torah, but she wasn't there, and her friends were burnt to a crisp. Whose son is serving Am Yisrael in such a grudik way in the army, who gave over on Friday night a talk to, I don't know how many kids were there. My daughter came home, asked me, tell me, how old was David when he made Aliyah? Because he's that. Sorry, I mean, you may feel what you feel about yourself. Your kids upped it. Yeah. Your kids upped it. They did. They upped it a notch. A huge notch. So it's hard to makaba. I'm not trying to say, listen, I don't think you're a tzaddik. I think, meaning, no, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. I'm not saying, yes, you're Mashiach. Like, I know what you're talking about. I feel at times the same way as Mamash. I feel the same thing as well. Like, maybe I'll be spit out because I'm not living like an Olas Tamid, but I'm paving the way for the world for my children. That's how we live. We live for our children, and maybe that's considered the bechina of Olas Tamid. Could be.
Can I share something as somebody who's not yet living here, has this zchut of being able to come here and see how you live here? I think paving the way is one imagery. I think illuminating the way is another one that I would prefer. I think you're lights, like you're lighting the way, and when people from outside of your community, and people who are making Aliyah come and see the purpose with which you live, even if it seems mundane in the day to day, like big picture from our perspective, there's light. Like there's light that's emanating from you and how you're living and what you're doing, and it's not just your children; it's also you and the sacrifices that you make in order to live that meaningful, purposeful life is something that is very evident for people who are living in significant darkness. Now, you might feel here that there's not enough light. We need more light. And you're trying to tap into that, and you have a thirst for more of that. But relative to the darkness that we see there is so much light here, and you're the source of that light. And that's not a small thing.
Ashrecha.
Well
Ashrecha.
expressed, but it's a
Yeah.
challenging section to deal for people who've made the ultimate. Many people, more than me, some less than me, leave all my kids behind.
Yeah.
Thinking that we're actually, and when you read this, if you just read this and understand it the way it's written, it says, you're paving the way, like Yossi's feeling right now, but the big closure is going to come, and whether they're enlightened or not, whether they believe in it or not, that's what the Gula of Mashiach. And I know we've had this conversation, and you react to me, what, you think there are people who'll be left behind? They were left behind in Mitzrayim. There were people left behind in
No,
Gerush
I believe
Sarah.
Avram Fried.
I know. There were people left
No
behind.
Jew will be left
6
behind.
million korbanos were left behind in
Not,
Europe.
Mashiach is Mashiach.
Okay.
Mashiach's a different zach. He still didn't answer though. He still didn't address the heat over here. Again, lachen aliyah la'aretz b'vchinas oilas tamid. You come to Eretz Yisrael, you're in. Ha'oila kalil al gabe hamizbeach. Es aliyah melavat toda'a ki tachlita hi bias kulchem velo bias miktzaschem. Making aliyah, there's the awareness, the consciousness that the purpose here is that everyone will come, not just a portion. Even if it is just a portion now, you're coming b'shem kol Yisrael. You're showing up here b'shem kol Yisrael. V'chol ole prati, every individual person that makes aliyah, margish ki hu chelek me'aliyah sa'am kulo. He feels and he senses he's part of the aliyah of the whole nation. That's how it should be. V'achen gam im bizman hagalus ein la'alos b'choma. Okay, so this is a whole sugya that we haven't learned yet. But this is where Satmar comes in. You know what aliyas b'choma means? Do you guys even know what this reference is?
It's one of the three.
For now, I'm not going to get into it. Even if right now in this man of the Golus, it's not time to come here the way that we see a chunk of the national non-observant, non-Hamish Olam has tried to make it here. We see how successful that's been. Kol ole tzarich lachush ki hu me'atzeg et Klal Yisrael. When you come home and you're living here, you're representing Klal Yisrael. When I live in Dallas and I move to Tampa, I'm not representing Klal Yisrael by my move. I'm hopefully doing a good job as a good yid, representing my family. When I come here, I'm representing Klal Yisrael. Umechin likrat kibbutz galuyas hasholem, and you're preparing for the complete kibbutz galuyot and gathering of exile. Sherak bo tishlam kalil ha'aliyah la'aretz, and only then the whole picture of aliyah la'aretz will be complete. Now, toda'at olat tamid, this inyan of being an olas tamid, he gama toda'ah lekach she'olim le'eretz asher einei Hashem elokeh. Asher Hashem Elokecha Derish Asad Tamid, Einei Hashem Elokecha B'Mireshis Hashana V'Ad Achris Shana. We know this famous pasuk. Now, the normal translation, I heard it this morning. I learned the parish of Rav Shlomo on this, and Mamish this morning before davening. The way we usually translate this pasuk is that it's a land that Hashem is always demanding. It's a land where Hashem's eyes are on from the beginning of the year till the end of the year. Rav Shlomo said, Eretz asher einei Hashem elokecha ba, that when you walk around in Eretz Yisrael and you look at the world and you look at people, you're looking at things with God's eyes. That's what Eretz asher einei Hashem elokecha ba. Here is the place where you look at things with godly eyes. That's what it's supposed to be like. That's the real aliyah. And when I'm looking at things with godly eyes, it's different than the way that I normally look at people. I look at people differently. Obviously, the whole judgment is it's a completely different zach. I look at someone and I realize there's a whole package here going on. I don't know anything. Like some guy walked into the Yekiv last night. Mamish looked like a cowboy, but like a nebuch, smelly, like a guy you don't want to be around, right? A cowboy. He's one of the saviors of Am Yisrael. The guy has a farm up north. Way up north, he sleeps every night outside shooting, like taking down wolves or whatever. Like this guy's amazing. These guys are amazing. Eretz Yisrael, dika eyes. You look at someone and you mamish, you never knows in front of you. You never knows in front of you. If that's the case, that this is a place where Hashem's eyes are on all year long, mimele hadavar metil al haoleh chov'a linhog beofen shel shnei tmidim b'chol yom. Therefore, this is Rav Ginsburg's beautiful artistry here. What it places on the oleh is the obligation to act every day, where we say shnei smidim kehilchasam. We give 2 korban tamids every day, olah shel shachar and olah shel ben arbaim, the morning one and the evening one. And what are the 2 korbanos? He says one of them is shivisi Hashem lenegdi samid, that the Ribbon Shleilam is mamish right in front of me all the time. That's Keneged the Tamid Shel Shachar. And the Tov Lev Mishte Tamid, which is the Tamid Shel Ben Arbaim. That means Simcha.
He's referencing Shulchan Aruch, the last,
Yeah.
first and last.
That's the beginning. It's how it starts and how it ends. Nachon. You know, I learned a story about Rabbi Nachman with the women right now. We're doing this brilliant mahalach of learning Rabbi Nachman's life from the beginning with the Torahs, like how I'm loving it. I never did it like this before. You know, Rabbi Nachman, one of the things about him, he's told his students, is that when he was a kid in Cheder, he would get hit by the Rebbe. Like, a Brestover hears this, he wants to dig graves to find, let's find out who Rabbi Nachman's Rebbe was in Cheder, and, you hit the Rebbe? It's because, quite often, in complete contrast to what I shared in the beginning of Shir, when Rabbi Nachman would sit in Shir, when he learned the pasuk Shivisi Hashem lenegdi samid, that I have God, it's what equanimity. That's what we call it. Ishtavus means I have to constantly have God's name in front of me at every given second. So when he learned that, he would sit in class and he realizes this is what it means to be in the presence of God. He's 5-6 years old, and that's all he saw in front of him. The Rav was talking. He'd ask him, "Okay, pick up from here, Nachman," and he didn't even hear the Rav's comment, and he would get hit because he had Shivisi Hashem lenegdi samid. That was Rabbi Nachman as a little kid in Cheder, right? That means he was part of the Amcha, part of the Amcha. So, and then this other thing, the other one, Tov Lev Mishte Tamid, that we have, Baruch Hashem, we have a lot of great examples of people like this that have both of these korbanos, both ways of living here, sacrificing their life. The bottom line is that to relate, to answer Steve's agony right now, is that you have days in Chazal that because they say that the final shlav will be the full ingathering of exiles with Mashiach's coming, it shouldn't belittle, chas v'chalila, the mesirus nefesh of those that aren't waiting to be picked up like Nebuchs. Like what Yossi's scared may happen to him. I want to find the Nekudas Tovos in both of them.
Repeat that?
The fact that he's saying, I hear that you want him to say that what we're doing now is essential and it is what everyone should be doing.
And is bringing the Geula.
The problem is, we have a pasuk that says, Uvau ha'ovdim be'eretz Ashur, v'anidachim. Let's go even before that. How does the pasuk begin? V'haya bayom hahu yitaka b'shofar gadol. That's how it starts. Then it says, Uvau ha'ovdim be'eretz Ashur v'anidochim eretz Mitzrayim, v'yishtachvu l'Hashem b'Har HaKodesh b'Yerushalayim. So based on that pasuk, what comes first before the last final ingathering? Yitaka b'shofar gadol. It's the shofar of Mashiach. So what a schus to be here already when it happens.
Rav Shlomo, it's silly for me even to suggest you have a facility with psukim much deeper than I. There are many places in the Medina where they talk about the ingathering as a precedent.
But the Rambam doesn't.
I know that.
And
there are shitas.
But the shita that Klal Yisrael holds from, even the Tzionut Datit holds from the Rambam.
The ingathering, real ingathering.
I'm saying you want to pick and choose. It's one thing, but even the Tzionut Datit. But I'm saying even so, like even after all that, what am I learning from this right now? That if I'm here, I gotta be all in. I gotta connect to all of Am Yisrael. I gotta live my life representing Am Yisrael. I don't care. I don't need a shita here to make me feel. You know, I never get into halacha discussions with anybody about anything ever. I've never.
Because there's so many shitas.
Because it doesn't matter at the end of the day. I go into hashkafic discussions. If you want to prove to me something, how did the conservative movement begin? Does anyone know?
Sure.
What was it based on? The conservative movement.
It was based on halacha.
It was based on halacha. It was a tshuva based on halacha to permit driving on Shabbos.
The stories in the Gemara
of Amayraim that were able to say, I was able to matter eating basar b'challah.
Betach.
Doing
Betach.
these things.
So if I'm going to go through the halachic route of Zionism, I'm going to get nowhere. To me, it's led me personally to, it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to me because I know that Basof, everyone's going to be here.
Yossi and I, and maybe others who are not speaking up, want to know is our Aliyah bringing closer the Geula by our act of whatever sacrifices and dedication and being all in. That's the Yochi part.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
What the message that I could take away as a Yochi, very
Right,
clear.
right. But as an Am, you're
As
saying.
an is that an element of maybe Hageula, or is it not the most relevant thing? You can do the same thing if you're in Lakewood or
No. Happy to. Chas v'shalom.
I know what I think.
So why does anything else matter?
Yeah.
It doesn't
It doesn't make a difference. It doesn't matter.
It does not matter.
It doesn't.
Of course it does.
It doesn't
Because
matter.
I'm not a Yachid, I'm a father and a grandfather and a great-grandfather
Amazing.
who is giving messages to his many doiros about the importance
Exactly.
of being ready.
And that's you. And that's
Am I incorrect?
and because you're doing that, you're helping bring it.
I'm not sure anymore.
I'm 100%.
I'm 1,000,000% sure. I'm 1,000,000% sure. I have some things I have doubts about.
Something like this sets me back.
Chas v'shalom. God forbid.
You're here.
Yeah.
You're setting the example.
I've already-
Without you being here, your Darot are not going to be able to see it
I
going
have
forward.
learned over the last 20 years that when I see a Chiloni living in Tel Aviv, I'm much of him because he has helped us redeem this land too, and that's a important quality, and they're doing the preparation. And I'm not judging what he's not doing, I'm judging how he's helping.
Can I say one thing about
Why
that?
don't you judge
What-
yourself?
Yosef,
Right.
I want to say one thing. I want to say one thing about that. What you just said is great for yesterday. You don't bank on that for tomorrow. What you just said about seeing someone that just because they're here, they're part of redeeming the land, Mazel Tov. That's amazing up until now. A Yid does not say, and that's what I'm going to bank on for tomorrow.
You want to go more beyond?
Aliyah. No, exactly.
It's not about making aliyah, it's about what you do with it.
It's about how you do it. It's about how you do it. It's about what you do with it. Listen, I know you should. For the newer chevra, you should know. When we started talking, when I started talking like this years ago here, it was almost like I'm speaking apikosis, mamish. It was almost like saying divrei kfira, because growing up in the Zionist movements and organizations, the way you won in this world was what? One thing. Aliyah.
Which is why I never liked it in yeshiva. It was like, you know.
Not bichlal not. Nachon.
It's because of that specific reason.
Because it can't just, because that can't be, to me, that cannot be the thing. Because then I saw the next generation of those that lived like that, and the next generation has to find God in India. In India. And only if they're tripping, they'll feel something, some kind of connection. וזה לא זה. The Besorah of Eretz Yisrael is so much bigger. This is what I want to say. It's so much bigger than those that have been representing the movement. It's so much greater. Why is it that I learned the Satmar Rebbe's Torahs on Parsha Shlach, and I feel madly in love with Eretz Yisrael? But growing up, that was a bad word. Isn't that nuts? To me, there's no stira. There's no stira. It doesn't. I told you once, Rav Weinberger, the one Shavuos I was there, probably 18 years ago, Mashka, he spent the whole night Leil Shavuos teaching the Satmar Rebbe and Rav Kook and showing how they're sitting at the same tish in Shamayim, that they're just really saying we got so stuck with slogans and all these things, and I know it's heavy things to talk about, especially while some of you have children that are serving in the army. So to hear something counter to that in terms of importance levels of Am Yisrael, that's very relevant, especially Bisman Milchama. But Lemay Nafka Mina, what does it even matter at the end of the day? If we're here and we believe in what we're doing, Mamish doesn't matter. I don't need anyone to think like me. I don't need anyone to think like me.
You'd be perfectly satisfied if your children didn't embrace your ideology? Of course you wouldn't.
If they didn't embrace my ideology and became kofrim, I'd chas v'shalom. That'd be really hard. But I don't consider someone that doesn't live here a kofer.
I didn't say that.
I know it's a heavy thing, but I know it's a very. I know that I don't know it's a heavy. I don't even realize how much of a heavy thing it is. But I'm thinking about, if that's the matzav, how do we get them here faster? Are you making aliyah while you're doing a yichud with the land? That's what he said. You want to mashpi on the ruts of people to live in Eretz Yisrael? Excuse my language. Make love to the land. That's what he said.
We also learned beforehand, I think it was in Tiferet, that the only way we can really do that is to get rid of certain issues that we have within the land, right? Because
that's what he said. Yeah.
So in order for that to really happen,
look at the title of the next parak. Just look at Parak Yud Bet, the title. You think it was like PG-13 until now? Siluk Gorimim Oinim. That means you want to do all this. It's beautiful. Like, work on it. While cancer is spreading through the body, don't start running marathons. Take care of cancer.
you don't take care of it partially.
We'll get to that at Be'ez Hashem as well. Okay, B'shkoyach everybody.